A man wearing a black jacket with a hood snatched the woman's bag beside you in a jeepney. Nobody tried to help or react because they were afraid that one of the passengers might get hurt. As soon as the snatcher got the bag, he immediately jumped to escape. What are you going to do in this kind of situation? I will run after the snatcher. B. I will just ignore since I am not directly involved. C. I will call the police or people in authority. D. I will scream at the snatcher. Jessril was the only cleaner left in Thursday group because the rest went home after class. His classmate Renato told him to do the same and just come up with an excuse the next day if their advisor gets mad. He also added that if Jessril goes home, he can watch his favorite anime, will not get tired of cleaning, and relax right away. If you were Jessril, what would you do? A. I will do what Renato had told me. It is unfair to clean since my fellow cleaners left. B. I will still do my task. As a cleaner to be rewarded by my teachers. C. I will still clean for it is my responsibility and our classroom is also our second home. D. I will not clean the room since I also do not clean our house. A hazardous chemical in the science laboratory spills, producing fire and smoke with a peculiar scent. You were in the exact time and location when the incident happened. What will you do in this kind of situation? A. I will implore God to save me. C. I will take a selfie and post it to my social media account. B. I will start preparing my last will. D. I will inform the people in authority to ask for help. If the topic in an investigative report is climate change, factors, and its effects to biodiversity, which of the following statements is relevant to it? A. Climate change is described as a change in the average condition such as temperature and rainfall in a region over a long period of time. B. Responsible citizen affects the economic growth of the country. C. Students from low economic level homes are at a disadvantage in schools because they lack an academic home environment. D. Community involvement and family ties in the status of economic growth. Blank, that the best way to lose weight is through a controlled diet and a good exercise program. A. I suppose B. This proves C. My take. D. To the best of my knowledge. Blank, a good education is more important than a good car. A. As far as B. I prefer C. In my opinion. D. It seems. Modern cell phones are sophisticated devices that, like games, television sets, and computers, operate from screens. The idea of excessive screen time worries many educators. Children can spend 2 to 4 hours each day in front of screens. Much of this time has limited physical and mental activity. Often solitary entertainment screen time can occupy most children's out-of-school free time. Educators recommend that children engage in active play, read, play social board games, and fantasy play. Screen time should be limited. Sherman listed a few other reasons for not having cell phones in school, including that the ringing can be a distraction. Cell phones could contribute to social inequities, creating a new level of have/have-not distinction. There may also be a keep up with Jones response as new and fancier phone technology comes along. Cell phones are small and getting smaller, thus, are easily lost and a potential target for theft. There really are no clear learning-related uses, Sherman says, and several disadvantages. It also is not accurate for families to think that the cell phone is making it easier for daily planning. Sherman suggested that waiting until the last minute to make plans, thus necessitating a call to the child, is a poor model for children. It is a better model for children to be learning to plan and study with a longer perspective. Parents should keep children informed and within a well-planned context. There are no good reasons for children to have cell phones, he says. One of the reasons frequently given for youngsters to have cell phones is to allow them to be able to contact someone in an emergency. But schools are safe places, so emergencies don't happen often, Sherman says. Schools are good about recognizing emergencies and making the appropriate contacts. Besides, it is not good to give children the impression schools are unsafe, exactly the opposite of the truth. Young students don't need this electronic tether to home and parents. They should learn to make decisions and experience the consequences. If children can't make, on their own, the decisions needed at school, they may never learn to be independent thinkers. We just don't need to be so connected, Sherman says. Thomas Sherman is a professor of teaching and learning at Virginia Tech. An excerpt from Cell Phones Don't Contribute to Learning by Marian Johnson. What issue is presented in the article/excerpt? As cell phones serve as distraction in class. These cell phones don't contribute to students' learning. C. Children spend too much time using cell phones. D. Cell phones don't teach students in making decisions. What claim is being made by the title? A. Students get addicted to cell phones. B. Cell phones must be banned in schools. C. Cell phones have no uses in learning. D. Cell phones are the student's most important tool in learning. What does the title of the article suggest? Uses of cell phones in learning. B. Advantages of having cell phones in class. C. Cell phones positively affect learning. D. The bad effects of cell phones to students' learning.
Have you watched the basic education address of VP Sara Duterte?
Yes, I've seen it last night with my parents.
I think VP Sara pinpointed the issue in the Philippines' educational system.
How do you say so?
Well, she highlighted how school facilities remains the main concern in education sector.
Oh, I agree with you, but I don't think that should be the main concern.
What? I don't think you understand her speech. Well, if that's not the main concern, what is it then?
Well, I'll make a list. How will you describe Richard's position about Allison's shared opinion? A. Richard is disagreeing with Allison's opinion. B. Richard is strongly agreeing with Allison's opinion. C. Richard is strongly disagreeing with Allison's opinion. D. Richard is partially agreeing with Allison's opinion. Based on the scenario presented in the dialogue between Mina and Allison, what should people keep in mind when sharing opinions with others? A. You are entitled to your own opinion. B. There can't be two opposing opinions that are both right. C. Mutual respect is needed, however ludicrous others' opinion is. D. You can dominate sharing of opinions by questioning the other's integrity. From the conversation between Richard and Allison, with whose opinion do you agree? Why, as a student, what is your opinion about our present educational system? Bias or prejudice, Jeffrey didn't pass the job interview because he has many tattoos. Bias or prejudice, Paulo organized a gender reveal party for his sister's baby. He prepared a cake with two colors, pink for a baby girl and blue for a baby boy. Bias or prejudice. During the celebration of Halloween in Balanga City, my friend Amanda gives more chocolates and gives to little girls. Bias or prejudice. Some people may consider all Muslim women to be illiterate. Correct or incorrect. The situation where Elon, as the manager of his company, refused to give specific tasks to workers he considered old because he thinks older people can't handle the job is an example of bias. Correct or incorrect. Martha often hugs her bag tightly whenever she bumps into a dark-toned man with dyed hair is an example of prejudice. Correct or incorrect. The statement, Miss Jenny Rivera is the best teacher in school, is an example of bias. What does the quote of Albert Einstein, try not to become a man of success, rather become a man of value, want to express? A. Your values are not important to attain success. B. Successful people are people with bad attitudes. C. Being successful is more important than having good attitudes. D. Having good attitude is more important than being successful. According to Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. What does he imply? Education is used for war. B. A good education is not important in life. C. To have a better world, educated people are not needed. D. People with good education can make this world a better place. You used in information from a website. However, you are not certain of the site's domain. What should you do? A. Take a closer look at the source. B. Check the domain name. C. Use certain sources only to jumpstart additional research. D. Search for additional information to back up what you found. The author of the material you used is a very famous celebrity. However, you are not familiar of the field of his expertise. What should be your next step? A. Take a closer look at the source. B. Check the domain name. C. Use certain sources only to jumpstart additional research. D. Search for additional information to back up what you found. Doctor, you'll start to feel better if you take this medicine for 3 days. A patient, but I've already tried taking that before and I think it made me even worse. Doctor, are you sure? This one's best recommended by other doctors. 2. Patient, blank, if you were the patient, how will you respond based on the conversation? I am sure. Can you give me another medicine to take? B. Really? Please give that to me. C. It looks like I'm good now. Thank you, doctor. D. I guess I'll just deal with side effects that might arise. Anton, it seems that Angelo's mad at me. Rocco, why do you think so? Anton, he pretends not to see and hear me. Rocco, I think you're overreacting. He's probably just having a hard time in school. If you were Anton, what would you do? Confront Angelo and ask what his problem is. B. Avoid Angelo. 2. C. Just let it go. D. Spread rumors about Angelo's hatred.